Good evening, everyone. This is Badr Al Wazir. I am a professional photographer from Bahrain. I've been in this field for 10 years now. So, what I'm gonna share with you is from experience. I'm not gonna say that I'm expert in economy. I'm not an expert. I'm not a financial advisor or what. So, hopefully, my advice and my information can help you in your life, especially if you are young and you are just graduating, and I'm sure you don't know, are you gonna find a job? Do you want to start your own business? Do you want to work for yourself? So in this video, as you can see in the title, I'm gonna give you 5 points about the benefits of working for yourself and 5 points about the benefit of working for somebody else. From these 5 points, you can decide yourself whether you are ready to work for yourself as a freelancer or a business owner, or you want to work with somebody else. There is no right and wrong here. I know lots of people, they are happy in their jobs. I know lots of people, they are happy in their business. But it's not suitable for everybody. From the last 10 years, we've learned a lot. And my wife and I, sometimes, of course, we have our very bad times in the business. And sometimes we say to each other, we wish that we have a normal job like everyone else. We take our money in the end of the month, the paycheck, and we don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. Let's start with the 5 points. Point number 1, freedom. All what I'm gonna speak about today, it's all related to freedom. If you work for yourself, you are a free man or a free woman. What is this freedom that you don't get while working for somebody else? It's as simple as this. Today, if you want to work, you can do it. If you are feeling like you don't want to work, you can still do it. There is nobody can tell you, oh, better, you have to come to the office today. You can't tell them, at least in my country, which is Bahrain, I can't tell my boss, I don't feel like working today. Let's put a rule here. When I say something, I don't mean everyone, I don't mean every boss, I don't mean every employer. No, I mean the majority. You can't tell your boss, I don't feel like working today. It's not acceptable. Even if you work in a creative field. And we know that if you work in a creative field, if you don't feel like working, you will not be able to produce anything that will sell, anything that will be acceptable, anything that is creative. Creativity need mood. I'm sure lots of you who's hearing this or listening or watching this video, they know that if you are not feeling creative, you will not be able to produce anything wow. But unfortunately, you can't do this if you have a normal job, if you are an employee. You can't tell your boss, I don't feel creative today. It's totally unacceptable. But if you are working for yourself and you feel today you don't have any inspiration, you are not inspired, you don't have any ideas, you don't feel like working, maybe you are sad, maybe you lost somebody, maybe you are physically in pain, whatever, if you don't feel like it, you will not do it. As a freelancer, as somebody who owns the business, as somebody that works for himself, you're totally free to do this. This is freedom. Point number 2, potentially making much more money. When you work to yourself, there is no limit on how much you can make or how many hours you work or when do you work. Do you want to work in the weekends? You want to work at night? You want to work in the morning and at night? you want to work 24/7, nothing can stop you from doing whatever you want. And you can, for example, if you are a photographer, you can do a side business also. Let me give you an example of myself. I am a photographer, and recently we entered in the videography business. We do food, we do weddings, we do corporate, we do advertising photography. Besides the videography, I rent my equipment, I rent my studio. We invested in some stocks in the USA. I used to have my printing business also. So there is no limit on how to make money if you work to yourself. You don't have a work description that you have to follow from 8 to 5, and you are not allowed to do anything else in this time. When you work to yourself, there is a potential that you will make much more money to yourself, because it's going to be your business, your freedom, and you can do whatever you want with that. Point number 3, when you work to yourself, you have the total freedom to make your own decision about developing the company. You don't have to wait the board directors. You don't have to wait your manager. You don't have to wait the CEO, the shareholders, or whoever. If you want to develop something, if you want to buy new machines, if you want to move your office to somewhere else, if you want whatever decision you want to make, it's in your hand. You don't have to take a permission from somebody else to do it. So it's all, as I said before, it's all related to freedom. But there is a specific points that I want to mention to explain your freedom when you work to yourself. Point number 4. When you work to yourself, you have more time to spend it with your kids, with your family, because you get to decide when to work and where to work. Most of the time, I work at home while I am with my family. When you work and you want to take a break, you can play with your kids. You can chat with your wife. You can do whatever you want in your break. And when you work to yourself, you get to decide when you take a time off. It's totally up to you. You don't have to take a permission for that from somebody else. Like if there is a day that your child wants to go to the sea, to the beach, and want to enjoy himself, and you don't want to go in the weekend, you want to go in the weekdays, because there are a few people in the beach on weekdays, of course, you can do that. You can take the day off without explaining, without taking permission, without trying to hide the truth and taking sick leave. You don't have to do that. You just take the day off, you go enjoy yourself with your kids, and then you will have to work what you were missing at night or in the weekend. It's totally up to you. Point number 5. When you work for yourself, you are opening yourself for unlimited opportunities, because you get to decide what projects you take, what projects you refuse, what type of projects you take, what people you get to meet, what people you get to work with, whether you want to work outside Bahrain, whether you want to work inside Bahrain. Would you whether work with freelancers or you want to work with full employment resources? It's totally up to you. It's unlimited opportunities. And if you are open-minded, if you know something that you want to do as a business, but it didn't work out, you still can open something else. You can do something else. You are not stuck. This is what I mean by unlimited opportunities when you work for yourself. You are not limiting yourself by a job, by a company rule, by a boss that has certain rules and certain way of dealing with people. You are not limiting yourself. So all of these 5 points can be all under one word, which is freedom. If you work for yourself, you have total freedom. With that being said, let's talk about the other side now. Why should you work with someone else? Why should you be a normal employee and work for a company? Point number 1, restricting your freedom. Yes, some people you have to restrict their freedom because they can't control their freedom. Unfortunately, yes, some people you can't give them their freedom because they will lose everything. They will lose themselves, they will lose their time, they will lose their money. Some people, they have to work under someone because they are not worthy of getting their total freedom. What I mean by this, for example, some people, if you give them the freedom of time, they will abuse it. They will not come in the morning. They will not work at night. They will not work this day in the weekday. They will not work in the weekend. You will lose control over them. They will lose control over their life. They are not worthy of having total freedom because they can't manage their time, they can manage their work, they will just fail. So, working with someone else, working under someone else, working as an employee, that they will put for you a timing for your work, they will put for you a uniform to work, they will put for you a list of rules and regulations because they know without that you will not work, and some people they will not work without that. So working with somebody else is much better for them. Point number 2, a fixed paycheck. Every month comes, you know that you will get your payment, you will get your salary. It's very secure, it's very safe, it's very good for the majority of people. They don't want to risk it. Lots of people, they don't want to risk. And this is the most important point of why you should work with someone else. Because feeling secure and having money each month for sure is an amazing thing, and nobody can tell you else. Because having money every month, a secure money every month, means that you will feel secure paying your rent, paying for your children school, paying your bills, paying everything. So a secure paycheck is the most important point of why you should work with someone else. And this point is what let us sometimes think, oh, we wish we work with someone else. We will get money at the end of each month and we don't have to worry about it. When you work for yourself, that doesn't happen. I can tell you how you can overcome that, but in another video. But for now, no, it doesn't work out like this. If you work for yourself, sometimes you'll get money, sometimes you will get zero. Point number 3, working for someone else most of the time means that someone else will make the big decisions instead of you. And I tell you again and again, I don't mean every job and every scenario. Maybe you work for someone else and you are the CEO. No, I don't mean that you are the CEO. I just mean you are a normal employee. You just graduated from your university and you go to work with someone else. You have a boss, you have regulations, you have a job descriptions, you have somebody who makes decision instead of you. So most likely, if you work under someone else, you are not the one who's making big decisions. Is that amazing thing? Most of the time, yes, because there is someone who is expert in this, and his job, her job, to take decisions, big decisions instead of you. Most likely, this manager or this CEO is capable of taking very important and critical decisions which you don't have to worry about, you don't have to stress about. You are not the one who's not sleeping at night taking these decisions, unlike working for yourself. All decisions must be taken by yourself, which means sleepless nights, stressing over everything. And yeah, you can spend lots of hours planning and worrying, and it's not easy thing if you have to take all the big decisions yourself. Point number 4, if you work for someone else, and if the company is very good company and reputable company, or a bank or a government institute or organization, it's much easier to get loans from banks. Like if you want to build a house, or you want to get money to invest it, or if you want a loan, it's much easier for you to be an employee in a good company, to be accepted by the bank to give you this money. If you work for yourself, that's going to be very difficult. A few banks and a few financial support companies, they accept to give loans for people who work for themselves, because the risk is very high. So if you plan to spend your life as easy as most of the people around you, you want to get a loan for your car, you want to get a loan for your house, you want to get a loan for your kids' studies, you better to option for a steady job with a reputable company, because it's much easier. Point number 5, it's much easier to fit in the society when you work for a company like everyone else, because your timing most likely will match the timing of everyone else. Your weekends will match everyone else. Your vacations will match everyone else. So when you want to travel with somebody, it's much easier. If there is events or there is a gathering in the weekend, it's much easier for you. Everyone having their weekend, you are having your weekend with them. You are most likely, most of the time, you are not working over the weekend, unlike people who have their own business. Some of the people who have their own business, the most critical time for their business may be in the weekend, or others, the most critical time for them is the summer holidays. So if you work like everyone else in a normal company, a bank, or the government organizations or institutes, you will get your holidays like everyone else, you will get your weekends like everyone else. It's much easier to fit your timing with others. It's much easier to participate in family events. It's much easier to be there when needed. And to wrap this video up, the most amazing thing about working for yourself is freedom. There is nothing better than having your complete freedom in your life. And working for yourself will promise you this. On the other hand, the most amazing benefit of working for someone else is security, knowing at the end of each month that you will get your paycheck no matter what. Unless you are getting fired, then I think take it as an opportunity to start your own business after that. Don't look for another job and join us in our freedom. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions, comments, or if you want me to speak about something else in the next video, please let me know down below. Salam alaikum.